Hello guys and welcome. Today we'll watch this video by Just Say Steven. So definitely go and check out his channel.
This indie developer just had their entire game ripped off Steam by one of the sketchiest companies I've ever seen, and they republished the broken down pirated version of the game onto the console's marketplace to try to scam people into...
That could make them a very big legal trouble if that was right. It's not just stealing the idea that he based his game off. No, they stole the .exe file, for example, and republish it. This is very dangerous, and if you signed your game to things like HIO or Steam or like published to Steam, this might give you a very good solid legal background on like how attribution works. So and could be used in court on like, this is my proof that I published my game and blah blah blah, and could put that company that republished that game into a very big legal trouble.
Buying trash. And apparently this isn't even the first time that this company screws over indie developers either. They have a long history of stealing assets from game developers, gamifying and flooding the indie store marketplace on consoles with their AI shovelware crap, and just trying to scam the players to buy broken down stolen games. So the issue that we're talking about here specifically has to do with one indie dev called Steel Krill Studios, that if you go ahead and check out their Steam page, they're known for...
This game looks astonishing. The Backrooms 1990, yeah, this looks like a very good game, by the way, and he looks like he is into horror genre, and he published a very nice video game.
Making horror games, like for example, you have Rotten Flesh, you have The Voidness, you have Baby Blues Nightmares, and based off the reviews, these games are actually pretty good. So Steel Krill just posted this thread on X the other day where it says,
a big scam company just stole my whole game from Steam. Ripped it and sold it as their own on PlayStation and other consoles. I don't know how PlayStation did not search that. This is too bad. More details in the thread to hopefully prevent both other developers and people from getting scammed. 1 out of 10. That's so bad, because like PlayStation and other consoles should check out if it's the real publisher or not. That's a very big mistake to do.
A big scam company just stole my whole game from Steam, ripped it, and sold it as their own on PlayStation and other consoles. Recently, with the help of my publisher, I released the Backrooms 1998 on PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. I was pretty happy, you know? Been in development for a while and being a solo developer, and finally having my game on consoles is always awesome to see. That was cut short after someone pointed out that the game was there already. This company called Cool Devs SLR stole my whole game, ripped it, pasted a bad AI crap as cover, literally made a bad version of it, and just published it on consoles and sold it themselves. So here's some screenshots of how the
oh my god,
actual real Backrooms 1998 looks compared to the fake copy. You can see that apart from like a few filters and like aesthetic choices, the game looks exactly the same. And if you go based off the gameplay footage, you can see that they have the exact same mannequins in the exact same spot, same chairs, you know, same vibe and aesthetics, even the same gameplay, you know? You don't have to be a game developer to know that this is just a ripped off game. So how exactly did they steal it? It says here that they stole the whole game by using some program and decompiled the whole assets alongside the music.
Oh yeah, that... Okay, so they did not just publish the exe, so they decompiled it, reverse engineered it, and then used the assets and the stuff and changed some basic stuff to, I guess, make them as they think like not legally accountable, but that's not right. He still can file a lawsuit against them.
Sounds, voice lines from the voice actor I hired, and everything else. They only changed the monster and the picture on the frame and put it up for sale on consoles. And honestly speaking, I didn't even think this sort of thing was possible outside of platforms like Roblox, for example, because sometimes when you go to Roblox...
No, this could be happening in even video games, but if he published it to Steam, so he can file a lawsuit against them, because this is obvious. The voiceover is the same. He already published the game on Steam, which has a very strict legal attribution thing, and they can't just steal the game, decompile it, and then republish it. That's I'm not very experienced in law, but I think it's a very easy lawsuit to win, and we are seeing multiple new lawsuits in the game industry, a year after year, to be honest.
Look for one popular game and then suddenly you find that yes, you have that game, but it's just surrounded by like 50 different copies of the exact same game that have just been ripped off and re-uploaded into the platform. So I knew that this whole situation is something that's prevalent and happens a lot in Roblox. I didn't know it happens so often on Steam though. But let's go ahead and talk about the scumbag company that's behind all of this, or I guess I should say the companies, since it's not really like one person or one company, it's just like an entire group that operates under multiple legal names like Cool Devs SLR, Dev Group SLR, Midnight Works SLR, you know, all I know is that they're all based out in Moldova. Kind of like how you have an entire building filled with offices for scam callers to just be calling nonstop. Well, it looks like you have the same exact thing, but in, you know, with game development.
I think Steam and other platforms for sharing video games should do a lot of either lawsuits to these companies, and if it's not really effective, they might do some policies for publishing video games or stuff like that, or maybe check out the games that are published if they were published before. It would cost them, and why would they do that? But they need to protect their users from such stuff. It's pretty bad.
Just ripping off popular games off Steam, trying to make some money by making defective pirated versions. So if you go ahead and check out the releases of Cool Devs SLR specifically, you can see that they have Trade 'em Up, TCG Empire Shop, and then you also have down here Liar's Tavern, TCG Card Shop Master. You know, obviously the TCG ones are just a copy-pasted version of TCG Card Shop Simulator, and Liar's Tavern, of course, is just a rip-off of Liar's Den. But you can see that they have an entire library of games that are just, you know, poorly made, copy-pasted, AI-generated crap. And if you go over to the PlayStation 5 online store and you check out the games to wish list section, that section is just filled with so many of these shovelware games, and they're just dropping brand new ones multiple times a week. And it all depends on whichever indie game is popular at the moment, and usually you can spot these things right away since the games are always a knockoff of a pre-existing game. Their cover art always uses some sort of AI generated slop, and even though they might be registered on the store as different companies, well, if you look for the games on other platforms like Steam for example, usually they'll be under the same company name. And unfortunately, when you see this sort of thing happening and PlayStation not really doing anything to address it, well, you have this one section that could be used for smaller indie legitimate companies.
That's why many indie people and many companies started not really trusting consoles like PlayStation, for example. They do really don't put many policies against stuff like this. Even one of the times there is a player who had Guinness records, I guess, in PlayStation, and his account of having trophies in the PlayStation account, platinum trophies, and he had multiple Guinness records, but they as he says, the account were blocked or had been sold in the black market or something like that. Either it was blocked or sold, I do not recall, because it was like back and forth from what PlayStation says and what he said. When multiple cases like this happen, many companies and developers do not want to make their games for consoles, which is bad for consoles like PlayStation. So in my opinion, they should make policies against such stuff, because this could damage their company and reputation pretty much.
He's trying to, like, you know, make their game stand out. It just makes the entire thing unusable because all you see here is just shovelware crap. So the way that they were gamifying the PlayStation storefront was using an exploit on the upcoming games to wishlist section, where this is exactly how it works. There used to be an exploit where there are 20 slots on the main dashboard to show upcoming games. This studio figured out that the games shown were the ones being released furthest out, but less than a full year in the future. What they did was crank out 20 crappy asset flips and fudge the dates on them so they would all appear to be coming out in 364 days. This way the main dashboard would show all of their games and pretty much no real ones. They would even...
That's bad. They need to fix this very quickly. That's super bad.
Keep changing the dates to make sure their games stayed 364 days out. PlayStation then had to fix this exploit and change how the recommendation systems worked because of this publisher specifically, and even then they still found a way to gamify the system even more, because then it says that they found a new exploit that said Sony reversed the order in which games are displayed so that the games coming out, the 20 games coming out the soonest, will be displayed on the main dashboard instead of the 20 coming out closest to a year out. This was obviously in response to Midnight Works SLR's reputation. How did Midnight Works SLR respond? respond, they change all the dates on their games to make it look like they're about to come out, so they could still be the only ones displayed. This not only prevents all real games from getting displayed, but it's deceptive to gamers since they aren't really releasing those games on those dates. I've been watching and they keep moving the release dates forward on their games so that they're always about to come out.
I don't know how they just don't block them from the whole platform, because these are some very bad examples to be in your platform.
Extremely deceptive to gamers and completely screws over every other real developer on the platform. So I went down a little rabbit hole after we talked about this on stream, and I found the official documents for Cool Devs SLR, the name of the CEO. I found the website for Midnight Works, which is one of the companies that they talk about. You know, again, they're all under the same umbrella basically, and apparently Midnight Works also works on publishing games, so if you make a game on Steam, they will actually work with you to publish it onto consoles like Stadia, Android, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, which actually coincides with Steel Krill's thread, because Steel Krill mentions on his thread another important detail that may have ties or not. I got contacted last year by a very sketchy publisher wanting to publish my game. I declined because something seemed off. Next thing I know, someone stole it and published it as their own. Could there be...
Yeah, that's so sketchy. Of course, even if you get no publisher is way better than just a sketchy publisher, because such things could happen. And even when you don't do it, apparently with Steel Killer, they could just steal your game and publish it on PlayStation, which is so weird. I don't know why there's no lawsuit is coming, or why PlayStation is looking like they are silent to this company. So that's super weird, to be honest.
Ties to this. So what ended up happening with Steel Krill and the Backrooms 1998? The aftermath of it all, what exactly went down, because we had an update that happened literally yesterday. Well, it looks like the game was removed from all the marketplaces. The fake one, you know, not the official Backrooms 1998. No, the fake Backrooms Horrors game was removed at the request of Steel Krill, and it looks like the fake devs of the stolen game basically made contact with him yesterday and said that it was a mistake and they removed it from the store. And
a mistake to stall a game, refactor it and release it in a Steam or like PlayStation. That's a very wild mistake, dude. That's like a month of work or even more of a mistake. You can't just do that by mistake.
Comment to just perfectly encapsulate the whole situation. Sorry, I slipped and copied your game by mistake and submitted it to Nintendo afterwards. You know, the usual. Yeah, stole the source code, uploaded the whole copyrighted game to all platforms, passed QA, and mind you, added trophies to their stolen game, all by a small mistake. Whoops, my bad, I didn't mean to do.
Whoops. My hand just fell from my shoulder to the mouse and keyboard, and I stole the game and remodeled stuff, recompiled stuff, changed the stuff, then published it and made some achievements. That was not by mistake, man. It's wild that they did not even had a good response for when the publisher says that.
Do that, but you know, it kind of just happened. And unfortunately, I don't really think this is going to stop this company from continuing to do this. They'll probably stop doing it to Steel Krill's games specifically, but they're just going to go ahead and keep doing it to other people.
That's
and
right.
If their company gets shut down, well, like I mentioned, they have so many different names that they operate under, it's really hard to crack down on this sort of like behavior. It's really disgusting at the end of the day. You know, sometimes I see people literally take my videos from YouTube, re-upload them, steal the thumbnail, literally a one-for-one copy. I see that happening and I'm just like, why would you do that, you know? So I'm just imagining it from like a game developer standpoint, where you have to code the entire game, make a masterpiece out of it, and then just have someone literally copy, paste, and try to steal it and pass it off as their own.
Yeah, that would be very, very bad. And again, a video game is a product, a service, some people may say, but it's like a product. And so when people steal and like do as much as they want of copies of that product, for example, and sell it to people and do some tricks to be on the main dash, I don't know why there's again a lawsuit against that company. It's very weird and it's very wild. I don't really understand it, why there's no movement from platforms like PlayStation Market or like Steam Marketplace, if that happened ever in Steam, to stop such things.
That's honestly just disgusting behavior. And as for repercussions for this company, unfortunately, there isn't really much you can do. You know, as a solo developer, as an indie developer, you probably don't have the funding to fight a giant legal battle against someone who's like halfway across the world.
That's right.
And even if you did win, well, who's to say, like I mentioned, they don't just operate under a different name, or you know, they probably live in a country where it's just not possible to apply the full extent of the law. So it really sucks to see that this happened to Steel Krill. I'm really happy that they managed to deal with it, and hopefully
that's
you know,
a good point. Maybe that's why they're like not based in like maybe a very well-known company with game dev AAA companies there, because they publish a lot of games and make a lot of video games. So yeah, that's something. So I don't really know what's going on, and I agree with him. A lawsuit might be not the best thing, especially if a video game developer did it, but if PlayStation or Steam or a big platform is the one who made the lawsuit, it would be effective in my opinion.
And keep making awesome, great horror games. I'm not much of a horror game person myself, but after seeing the story, I'm just like, maybe I'll check out the Backrooms 1998.
Yeah, go check it out.
We'll see if I get jump scared or not. But anyways, guys, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.
And by the way, also go and check out this guy, just say Steven channel. It's an amazing video and an amazing channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.